Не учим, а практикуем. Играем в английский от души. Свободный и мощный тренажер oxyenglishbot в Telegram.
На следующий день после того, как моя пещера была закончена,
The very next day after my cave was finished,
случилась страшная вещь.
A frightful thing happened.
Я был на грани потери всего и моей жизни также.
I came near losing everything in my own life as well.
Я расскажу вам об этом.
I will tell you about it.
Я был занят за своим навесом.
I was busy behind my tent,
Когда я услышал страшный шум над головой.
When I heard a fearful noise above my head.
Прежде чем я смог посмотреть вверх,
Before I could look up,
большая куча земли и камней повалилась вниз.
a great load of earth and stones came tumbling down.
Было чудо, что я не был похоронен заживо.
It was a wonder that I was not buried alive.
Я был напуган,
I was scared,
так как подумал, что вся верхушка пещеры проваливалась.
For I thought the whole top of the cave was falling in.
Я выбежал и перелез через стену.
I ran out and climbed over my wall.
Большая скала за моим замком, казалось, тряслась.
The great rock behind my castle seemed to be shaking.
Камни и земля катились вниз по ее склону.
stones and earth were rolling down its side.
Землетрясение.
An earthquake.
Воскликнул я.
I cried.
Земля затряслась.
The ground shook.
Высокий камень, который стоял между мной и морским берегом, перевернулся и упал.
A tall rock that stood between me and the seashore toppled over and fell.
Этот шум был самым страшным, какой я когда-либо слышал.
The noise was the most frightful I ever heard.
Было 3 толчка.
There were 3 shocks.
С перерывом примерно в 8 минут.
About 8 minutes apart.
Самое крепкое здание, какое вы когда-либо видели, было бы перевернуто.
The strongest building you ever saw would have been overturned.
Я был так напуган, что не знал, что делать.
I was so frightened that I did not know what to do.
Я сел на землю и не мог пошевелиться.
I sat on the ground and could not move.
Я мог только плакать опять и опять.
I could only cry over and over again.
Господи, сжалься надо мной.
Lord, have mercy on me.
После того, как третий толчок закончился, я начал становиться смелее.
After the third shock was over, I began to grow braver.
Но я все еще сидел на земле.
But still I sat on the ground,
Задаваясь вопросом, что произойдет потом.
wondering what would come next.
Вдруг небо затянуло облаками.
All at once the sky was overcast.
Темные тучи бежали над морем.
Dark clouds rolled over the sea.
Начал дуть ветер.
The wind began to blow.
Ужасный ураган был близок.
A dreadful hurricane was at hand.
Море было покрыто пеной.
The sea was covered with foam.
Волны были с горы высотой.
The waves were mountain high.
На берегу деревья были выворачиваемы с корнем.
On the shore, trees were torn up by the roots.
Если бы мой навес не был хорошо укрыт за большой скалой,
If my tent had not been well sheltered behind the great rock,
он был бы снесен.
It would have been carried away.
Ураган длился полных 3 часа.
The hurricane lasted fully 3 hours.
Затем начал лить дождь.
Then the rain began to pour down.
Все это время я сидел на земле снаружи.
all this time I sat on the ground outside.
Слишком сильно напуганный, чтобы вернуться в мой замок.
Too much frightened to go back into my castle.
К ночи дождь ослаб.
Toward night the rain slackened.
И я отважился перелезть через стену.
And I ventured over my wall.
Навес был наполовину повален.
The tent was half beaten down.
Поэтому я пробрался через него в пещеру.
So I crept through into the cave.
Я немного опасался, что даже он мог упасть на мою голову.
I was half afraid that even it would tumble down on my head.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Robinson Crusoe Written Anew for Children by James Baldwin. Chapter 17. I Have a Great Fright. The very next day after my cave was finished, a frightful thing happened. I came near losing everything, and my own life as well. I will tell you about it. I was busy behind my tent when I heard a fearful noise above my head. Before I could look up, a great load of earth and stones came tumbling down. It was a wonder that I was not buried alive. I was scared, for I thought the whole top of the cave was falling in. I ran out and climbed over my wall. The great rock behind my castle seemed to be shaking. Stones and earth were rolling down its side. "An earthquake! An earthquake!" I cried. The ground shook. A tall rock that stood between me and the seashore toppled over and fell. The noise was the most frightful I ever heard. There were 3 shocks about 8 minutes apart. The strongest building you ever saw would have been overturned. I was so frightened that I did not know what to do. I sat on the ground and could not move. I could only cry over and over again, "Lord, have mercy on me." After the 3rd shock was over, I began to grow braver. But still I sat on the ground, wondering what would come next. All at once the sky was overcast. Dark clouds rolled over the sea. The wind began to blow. A dreadful hurricane was at hand. The sea was covered with foam. The waves were mountain high. On the shore, trees were torn up by the roots. If my tent had not been well sheltered behind the great rock, it would have been carried away. The hurricane lasted fully 3 hours. Then the rain began to pour down. All this time I sat on the ground outside, too much frightened to go back into my castle. Toward night, the rain slackened, and I ventured over my wall. The tent was half beaten down, so I crept through into the cave. I was half afraid that even it would tumble down on my head.